Please be advised that everything in my video is purely for entertainment purposes. These are purely my thoughts and opinions and are subjective. I must advise you to please do your own research. All media users found on the public domain and are fair use and fair dealings. Hi guys, sorry for the delay on this video. I'm going to be completely honest with you. Cabin fever kind of set in. I went and did a bit of shopping for my parents the other day and left the bag outside their door, and it kind of just hit home the fact that I can't spend any time with them. I can't see them. I can't see any of my friends. As some of you know that have been following me since last year, I left my job in December and I was just going to have a little bit of downtime to work out what I wanted to do. And obviously doing the YouTube videos, which is amazing, but I still wanted a part-time job anyway for my sanity, because I like people. I like being around people. And then I went to Australia in February and I thought, no, I'll get a job when I come back. And then obviously this huge worldwide pandemic happened. So I've technically been self-isolating since pretty much the end of December. And now that I can't see my parents and I can't see my friends, the choice is completely taken away from me. It's made me all the more twitchy. I've got people that I hadn't seen that I should have seen probably about 6 months ago. And I know I'm not alone. This isn't a woe is me story, but basically it just all set in. I just got really miserable. So I decided to just embrace it for a few days. So I sat in my dressing gown for 2 days straight. I didn't shower for pretty much 2.5 days. I ate things that I wasn't supposed to. I drank more wine than what I was supposed to. But I just thought to myself, just embrace it. Be a little bit miserable, then pick yourself up, and then just kind of like focus, get some focus back in. So after a couple of days of being completely miserable, I'm back. So this video has completely changed, which I was going to do for you guys. I read an article about how Prince Harry was still talking about the fact that he was really disappointed he had to give up his military roles. It wasn't his choice. And he was saying, you know, that it's a massive regret. So again, it's just implying there was all this pressure for him to give up these roles. And it's like, you gave up the roles. So it really made me angry, because it's like, this is all your decision making. This is everything that you've done or your wife's done. How can you still be playing this victim narrative? You had everything, you threw it all away. You didn't do it professionally. You did it so immaturely. It was done like a throwaway sort of temper tantrum. The Queen got an email sort of hours before the worldwide announcement went out. I mean, how can the Captain General of the Royal Marines really operate or hold that role whilst swanning around, you know, Hollywood, LA, and going to Hollywood parties and, you know, trying to pimp your wife for acting work? I mean, it doesn't make sense, does it? He obviously knew at this point that he was going to go to LA. This is the dream that they always wanted. They're so happy. And it's like, well, it doesn't make sense, does it? So in one respect, they're saying that, oh, they were pushed into giving it up. And it's like, well, God, even an idiot can see that it never would have worked. It wouldn't have been allowed. So I was going to do a ranting video about it. And then I started collecting loads of media to use loads of photographs. And then the further I went back to Harry pre-Meghan and all of the pictures and all of the articles about him and everything, it kind of made me less angry and questioning more of, is Harry really this nasty person that he's now being painted out to be? Because there's lots of us that are saying, like, maybe this has always been the true Harry, and because of clever PR, because of his friends covering for him, he was always painted in a favourable light, but deep down he was always this much of a shallow, unkind person. So I started looking at these pictures and reading stories about him and stuff. And I don't think so. I really don't think so. There's no denying that Harry has done some stupid stuff while he's been growing up, but he's not too different to any other teenager. The difference is he had the worldwide media on him. Now, I'm not defending Harry, and this is where I want you guys to watch this and look at the stuff that I've seen, and I really want to know everyone's opinion on it, because I'm now back to kind of like, is this just Harry being completely manipulated and under narcissistic control? Has he always been like this, and now he's met his, you know, soulmate, his partner in crime? Or is this just a guy that's always been pushed around by his family and told what he has to do? So it makes no great shocker that he's found a controlling wife that's just steered him off in a completely different direction. So Harry has grown up in an actual fishbowl. Back when, before, I think it was before the News of the World got in trouble for all the phone hacking and everything, and the laws changed about how the paparazzi could stalk members of the royal family, because Harry was followed everywhere he went. There were photographers winding him up. Now remember that photographers that do this, these sort of celebrity stalking ones, they're the ones that will shout things, and that's the bit that you don't hear about. They'll say things to get the reaction of the person they want to take photographs. When they were stalking Britney Spears, for example, when they love people that are going through any sort of mental hardship, and some of these photographers will use horrible things to say to get the reactions, and you have had pictures of Harry that then get sold for a lot of money, coming out of nightclubs and getting into fisticuffs with photographers. But you've got no idea what they said to him to wind him up. So they've been making him out to be the petulant prince for a very long time. Now, it's not to say that Harry is completely innocent. He's really done some really stupid stuff. I mean, the fancy dress party, which was themed as, I think it was colonialism and native, and Harry famously went dressed as in a very offensive costume, but it didn't do his image very good. By this point, Harry was getting himself in and out of trouble. There were stories coming out of him doing drugs, and he was in rehab. I mean, it's quite clearly here he's clubbing and partying, but was he doing anything that different to what other people his age were doing? Even when Catherine first started dating William, this is before the laws changed, Catherine was stalked mercilessly by paparazzi. She couldn't even get in and out of her car. Her life was completely affected. Then you've got Meghan complaining about the narrative that they have about how she was completely harassed. I think it was all porcupines. Now, I believe that Meghan has done this to trick Harry into making him, remember everything that he grew up with, his childhood. It's manipulated him to turn him against the media, to turn him against, the world, protect Meghan because he couldn't protect his mother, and I do believe that she's definitely been doing that to him. When I look at the pictures of him with Chelsea, when I look at the pictures of him with Cressida, you can see that he was really happy. That's not to say that he wasn't a bit of a tool at times. So I do believe that Harry has always had that little bit of arrogance about him. But again, when you see and read stories of, there was a photographer, Arthur Edwards, and he's followed Harry and William since they were young boys. He took photographs of them when Diana was still around. So he's built up his own relationship with Harry. And Harry, he said that Harry used to be fun. He always used to ham it up. Some really funny pictures of them here mucking around together. Now, these are a different level of photographers, obviously, than the ones that are stalking him outside of nightclubs and stuff when he was younger. So Harry has got used to, these particular royal reporters or particular photographers, and they've all said the same thing. Harry used to be playful. He used to be fun. He used to lark around with them. He used to play pranks on them. He used to just generally be a lot more kind of lighter, fun person than what he's turned into now. So everyone is saying this is since Meghan has come on the scene, that he has turned into this bitter, angry, rude, entitled, mean, grumpy person. As I said, we know that he's not perfect, but look at his relationship with his brother. He was always incredibly close with William. They always had such a good bond, mucking around, playing with each other. They always had each other's backs, and I think they'd always sworn, to do that, obviously both losing their mother. William is the only person in Harry's world that really exactly knows everything that he went through. And then even when Catherine came on the scene, you think that would break the brothers up or anything. Like everyone says now, oh, Harry's just different because he's got a wife. Well, William and Catherine didn't sort of like get rid of Harry because they'd found each other. There's so many pictures of Harry, William and Catherine together. There's so many pictures of Harry with Catherine. They really took to each other. They took to each other like brother and sister. She really looked out for him. It was quite clearly obvious that Harry absolutely adored Catherine. And I think he probably helped guide her into royal life as much as William did. And who were the first two people in that family to get basically Harry's wrath when Meghan came on the scene? Meghan started planting the seeds, didn't she? As soon as William had advised Harry, saying, don't rush into it, that's when the arguments had started. But then Meghan latched onto that, and I think she fed the seeds. She planted the worms in his ears, going, they're not treating me nicely, Harry. They're not doing this to me. They're not welcoming enough for me, Harry. And then it was reported that Harry had a go at Catherine and William with Meghan sitting there on the sofa next to him smirking. So there is a reason why he went, well, Meghan probably went for these two first, because Catherine and William were the only two people in the entire world that could probably talk some sense into Harry. Then you see so many images of Harry with other members of his family, with his cousins, with the two York princesses. He used to spend time with them and stuff outside of just, the royal family official engagements. And he stopped spending time with any of his family. He had a really close bond with Mike Tyndall. See, this is another picture that the media chose to release, trying to paint Harry out to be a really arrogant person. How many of you guys have seen this picture with Harry doing the gun sign, okay, at a guy, and there's someone grabbing him? Now, that has been pushed around to go, oh yeah, isn't he a complete idiot? Isn't he, really arrogant up himself? But then the next picture that came with it It was him mucking around. They were all playing together, but people have chosen to take that one picture to paint Harry out to be a bad guy. So no wonder Harry does have issues with the media painting sort of negative stories that aren't true. One thing true that did come out of this, however, is, you know, Harry doesn't see this side of his family either. He was once very close with Zara and Mike and playing with the kids. Now he doesn't see them. Might have something to do with the fact that the paparazzi were called to their quiet, private christening that they held for their youngest daughter. No surprises who was invited to that, and magically the paparazzi were there and waiting. So I can imagine that Mike and Zara were probably a bit miffed about that invasion of privacy, and it's pretty obvious who rang them. Harry before Meghan was a completely different person. Harry that was proud of being in the military. Harry that, you know, was an Apache helicopter pilot. Well, co-pilot, I have to add that in there. But, you know, he still loved being in the military. Now, people have laid into Harry about this as well and go, oh, he was, you know, a toy soldier basically because he was, you know, constantly protected. Yeah, he was. He did have a team. I think they're Gurkhas around him. You know, he would have done, but he was third in line to the throne then. My point being is Harry was never allowed to properly be one of the lads. Harry has never really been allowed to, you know, when he finished Eton, you know, he couldn't just go off and do what he wanted to do. Harry has always been pushed into what he has to do. All of the other members of the royal family get a military done and they do a military service. Harry was probably pushed into this. It's not necessarily a bad thing because it probably gave him a sense of normality. He made friends that he otherwise probably wouldn't have met. He's probably met people from all different walks of life. But then he was pushed after 10 years to give it up, to take a more prominent role within the royal family. So Harry has always been steered by everyone else and not by himself. So it's no great shocker that he's ended up going in a completely almost rebellious way, but he's angry at everyone. I can't help but think that Meghan has literally manipulated this, that she's used every single weakness that Harry has, from emulating his mother to the way that she touches him, the way that she guides him. Now she's going into a different phase where she's almost belittling him. She's leaving him behind. She doesn't need him anymore. Harry was once the man that was stood there with his wife who gazed enduringly, scarily at him. I mean, who looks at their husband or anyone like this? It's pretty creepy, isn't it? He's gone from having her hanging onto his every word to now Harry is chasing after Meghan. It is Meghan that's doing the talking, Meghan that's leading, Meghan that's walking into every room before him. Harry has become surplus to a requirement. And now they're out in LA and obviously they're in lockdown and they can't quite do the lucrative deals. The Disney got panned. I'm beginning to think that Harry's time is slowly ticking away before Meghan decides that she doesn't need him anymore. So what I put to you guys is everything that I've said, and looking at these images, it's hard to remember the old Harry because it's been so long since we've seen him. It's been so long since we've seen the playful, fun Harry, the mucking about Harry, Harry with his brother laughing and joking, Harry with his other family members laughing and mucking around. The light's gone out of him. He looks a shadow. He looks a husk of his former self. And these are all definite signs of someone that is basically a victim in a relationship. I think it goes deeper than just being henpecked. I think that Meghan has really messed with his head and manipulated him, and Harry now feels stuck. This might be why he's so angry. This is obviously just my views and opinions, but this is why I just thought I'd throw it to you guys because, as I said, the video was going to be a takedown. And then I was just like, no, there's more to this, what's going on. Harry's not always been like this. Has he made mistakes? Yes. Has he been a bit of an arrogant tool at times? Yes. Could you ever really see like Harry really being grounded at the palace, or someone giving him a thick ear because he's done something or because he's chatted back to his parents? I know it sounds like I'm trying to make excuses for him, and the way that he's treated his family is absolutely disgusting. He has treated his brother, his sister-in-law, his cousins with such disrespect. He's treated the monarchy, the military, with absolute total disregard, like he doesn't care, it's nothing to him. But how deep does this manipulation of Harry go? Do you think that Harry has always been like this? But it's now that Meghan gave him the sense of freedom that he's now actually letting his true narcissistic, horrible personality come out. So I'm literally swaying back and forth, but I'd be really, really interested to see what you guys think. One minute I think, do you know what? He deserves everything coming his way, the way he's treated everyone. But then I also think, as I said, I switch back and I'm like, oh, how much of him has truly just been twisted and manipulated? Either way, Meghan, it's clearly obvious she has not brought out a good side to Harry. Whether Harry is 100%, he's been hiding his true personality, she has literally brought all of this out in him. Either way, it doesn't look good, does it? She's either manipulated him and turned him this bitter and twisted, or she's just brought it out. Forgive me, but I always thought that when you find someone that you love and they love you back, they're meant to bring out the best sides in you. So I don't see this relationship being a healthy one for a start. And as I said, I think Harry's usefulness is it's slowly in decline. So I do wonder how long it would be before we see hints or signs of an impending divorce announcement, especially now that they've settled in California, which is a very, very famous, well-known state for pretty brutal divorce laws. So good luck, Harry. And I'll be back with you guys in the next couple of days. So take care, stay safe, stay healthy. Bye.
If you like my video, please remember to like and subscribe. Please, angry typists, you will be blocked, so save your fingers the time. If you would like to buy me a coffee, please go to my About page and click the link. Love, Taz.